Francisco Dao here has a question.
Hey, Jason, Chris, I'm the producer of Twiistup. Mike, I had a conversation with some people recently. Chris, you mentioned that your startup has a lifespan. On the
Yes.
on the internet, is it inevitable that a company will go stale? In other words, you know, Friendster started, they went stale. Then it became MySpace, and I think Mike's gone, so Facebook's now the popular one. Is it? And you see it. I mean, AOL was once the top dog, and they've kind of gone stale. So, you know, as much as an internet company thinks, okay, we own this spot, and we're going to own it forever, do you have a 3-year span, and then people lose interest?
I think that you have a serious need to get, I don't say big, but well-known as quickly as you can, because the newness is a huge part of what the tech business covers. The tech business wants to cover new. Once you're around for a while, you better have some revenue. I mean, I guess the other side of it is there's sort of whether you have buzz, and then there's, hey, whether are you making $1, whether you've got a sustainable customer base. And like Flickr, for example, which got bought by Yahoo, a lot of people use Flickr. It's not talked about it anymore as much. And again, it's part of Yahoo, so it's a little hard to say this as a startup. But there are people who are Salesforce, right? Salesforce has a lot less buzz. It's a publicly traded company worth billions of dollars, and I think that they've done very, very well, even though I don't hear much about them anymore, even though, you know, that guy on top keeps talking about Tibet. I think that you have to substitute buzz for revenue or for a sustainable business. That'd be my take on that.
Yeah, I mean, there are two markets. There's like the bubble we live in and what Robert Scoble thinks of your product. Yeah. And then there is like what, no offense to Scoble, but, and then there is, you know, is it a real business? Yeah. And so, you know, actually it's a good sign when Robert Scoble stops talking about your business, because that means you're probably onto the revenue stage. I mean, he's not going to talk about Dig anymore, but I'm certain, even though Dig is not the darling of TechCrunch or, you know, Robert Scoble, it's making more money now than ever.
Right, exactly.
So it's a great question, and I think you have to pick which thing. And I think people get, yeah, of course, follow up.
It's your show, man. What do you want?
Man,
no, not right now. I give the show to you. So I get there's the buzz end, so you use the example Salesforce, but let's use MySpace. When the buzz ended, the revenue also, I don't want to say it ended, but it's not what it could be or should be.
Social networks are sort of a different beast. I mean, a lot of people make the comparison to clubs, and like people like to move from one to the other. Dana Boyd has done a lot of sort of research on that. You know, it is sort of like that. And then there's this process in social networks where you get highly engaged when you first join, because you have to add your friends, and you do that whole, like, adding my friends, setting up my profile, the sort of busy work of social networking. And so then the question is, after you do all that busy work, is there something still there to keep you there? And what is the thing that keeps you on MySpace? Your friends writing on your wall? That's not strong enough to keep you there. Facebook? What's keeping me on Facebook? Nothing really. I don't really get much out of Facebook anymore. And what's the thing that keeps you on Twitter? I think it does have something sustainable. It's a communication medium. So what are your thoughts? Because you had Spoke.
So I think that in the case of, Spoke, we did this enterprise thing. It turned out to be probably not the best way to make a lot of money. But on that particular question, I think MySpace is really interesting. It used to work for Jonathan Miller. I mean, they've recruited in a whole different team of people, making it a totally different company. Like, they've got people, I mean, I know a lot of the guys there. You've got Mike Jones, you've got Jason Oberfest, you've got Jonathan Miller, you've got Mike McAdam. You've got these people who are, you know, veterans of taking, let me point out that Jonathan Miller and that same team took AOL, a company that we both had experience with, and they reinvigorated AOL in a time when no one thought that was possible. So I think that if you actually had a turnaround team to go on, I would pick those guys. And I think that it is like a club, but it turns out new coat of paint, you know, new promotions. Yeah. I think that you've got a big opportunity, because everybody's already got their MySpace thing. It's like, come home to MySpace, right? It turns out they have a lot of usage, and they have a core music and band thing that I think they could turn around to something interesting. So I would not write those guys off with the amount of traffic and Rupert Murdoch at the top. Again, I wouldn't write them off. I would say that they have a huge chance of coming back.
Yeah, I give them some pretty good chances, because you've basically just totally put in a new group, but you have a certain window. I mean, it's sort of like the AOL dial-up subscribers were going down from 30 million, and now it's whatever, single-digit millions. Yeah. And you have that amount of time to try to change it and do something, which is what I was trying to do with Netscape.
Yeah, there's a window. I agree.
You know, the Netscape audience was people who didn't know how to change their default
browser setting,
homepage on their browser. This is a really great audience to inherit. I have no idea why I took on that project. But it was, you know, 6 million people, and then you try to reinvent it and sort of plateau it. That's what they have to do. What are these people going to do? And music seems to
They
be
have
why
a
a lot of
year
people
and a
go
half
there.
to make this work, and that's a reasonable operating window. But
Yeah.
you're right. I think that at some point in time, it's whatever happened to MySpace and their VH1 special.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, there's this huge number of page views that they have to try to reinvigorate. And you had a challenge with Netscape. You tried to change the audience and doing something completely different.
Right.
MySpace just has to get people to do kind of what they were doing before and hopefully think that they're cool about doing it.
That's why I think casual games like Zanga and what those guys are doing, if they just made, because the MySpace audience is sort of younger or whatever, if they just got them doing casual games and virtual currency and going crazy like that, they would really become sticky, and there'd be something for them to do when they come to their page. Go play poker, go...
Or have something social at all, because MySpace really became a self-promotional vehicle instead of being a real social network. It was sort of like, almost like what Twitter is. I mean, I think that you could do a lot with Twitter because it's an opportunity to say, hey, come and check out a larger piece I did on MySpace. It could become easily a default platform if they were able to get it to the people who are in a different place than the Twitter audience is now.